Awesome. I think we are live. So if you happen to join in, say hello. If you are catching the replay, just drop a comment saying hello too. Let me know you're catching the replay. So I wanted to talk about a couple of things this morning, and I just got my kids all sent off to school. I thought I'm gonna hop on because I'm really feeling the urge to kind of talk about this experience that I had yesterday and how it relates to the root center. So let me hold on. Okay, so if you pull your own chart and you look at your body graph, and so that's going to be this little guy here, so yours might look similar, or it should look similar depending on where you run your chart from. But anyways, the root center here is at the very bottom, okay? And that is the center for like adrenaline, stress, drive, and in my case, mine is undefined. So that means that the center is white, it's not colored in, and that means that I am like taking in then that kind of stress and adrenaline energy. And I'm going to share how this shows up for me. So a perfect example was yesterday. Our schedule gets a little bit busy in the evening. So I go to town to pick up our son from school. I get back home around 4 o'clock. And then I make dinner. I do, the after school stuff with the kids, help with homework, talk to them, all of that stuff. And then I needed to leave at 5 o'clock to go to be in town at 5:30 to return football equipment. And then I needed to go pick my son up by 6 o'clock for basketball. Okay. So I had this checklist of things, right? And the root center loves the checklist, especially the undefined root center. But this checklist can also get us into trouble. Because it can create this pressure to get things done. So it is one of two pressure centers. The other pressure center is the head, which is at the very top. Oh my gosh, I have flies in my office that are driving me nuts. And so, okay, so yesterday I get home from school and we got a new mattress. I'm unpacking the mattress. I'm trying to make dinner. I'm also washing laundry, and I've got these series of things going on because I'm also a manifesting generator. So I've always got several different things going on at the same time that I'm juggling because it's just me. And so I didn't get everything finished like that I had wanted to before I needed to leave to go to town. And then I was already running late. And so I knew that I wasn't going to get everything finished. And like my husband was there to help, finish things, finish dinner, get things cleaned up, like get the dogs fed, all those other little things that needed to happen, get the laundry changed over. But I literally felt this pressure in my body that I needed to have these things checked off before I could leave the house to go, take care of the other things I needed to take care of. And it was literally causing my nervous system to just like, I got a little kind of like visibly shooken. And I had to shake that off, and I made myself leave the house, right? I made myself leave those things undone, and my root center is just freaking out because there's this pressure in there. There's like this physical pressure in there. It's just telling me you have to get those things done before you leave. And so I drove off, and eventually it went away, especially as I just allowed myself some time on the drive. I didn't put any music on, no podcast. I just allowed myself some time to really think through like what was going on for me there. Why did it not feel okay to leave those things? And then, that kind of dug further down into something else that I've been experiencing lately that I'm going to hopefully be talking more about later on. But like the invisible load of motherhood and all the little things that need to get done that it's like only we see. And so I was able to dig into that further, kind of relieve that root center pressure, left the undone things, and was able to work through that moment. But that is how the undefined root center shows up for me. It's when I have these things to do, there's this pressure on me to get them done. And I can, if I'm not able to get them done, it can leave me a little like, wigged out is what I want to say, anxious, dealing with this energy in my body. And then on the flip side, my husband has a defined root center. And so for him, he's just like, it'll get done when it gets done, right? Like, no big deal that you can't get it done before you leave. Like, it'll get done by the end of the night, which it will, right? Everything will get done by the end of the night. But for me, the undefined root, I can't rest until it's done. Whereas he can rest and come back to those things later. So let me know if you relate to that, if you're an undefined root center or a defined root center, and how you feel about that, like a checklist of like, I need to get these things done. Do you feel that pressure in you if you're undefined? Or if you're defined, are you just like, meh, it'll get done when it gets done, and it doesn't bother you that much? So I wanted to talk a little bit about that because I thought, I'm experiencing it, so I can talk about it. And next, I wanted to talk about supporting generator and manifesting generator kids. And Heather asked this question last week on the Human Design Q&A thread. So I want to try to answer it as best possible. And so Heather, if you are catching the replay later, please feel free to like leave some comments, ask some questions, and we can work through some of the stuff that I talk about if it resonates with you. So I want to talk about, we can kind of lump both together because manifesting generators are a generator subtype. So together they make up 70% of the population. So 70% of our world population is a generator type, right? And so that means that they have the sacral center defined. Hang on. Sorry. I get really thirsty when I start talking and I get really animated. So your sacral center is this second square up here. If you have that defined, you are some type of a generator, so a generator, a manifesting generator. If that is undefined, it's white, then you're what I call a non-sacral type. So a manifestor, a projector, or a reflector. So, we can, let's focus on the sacral center in general here. So the sacral center is all about kind of that life force, like that workforce energy. So I give the example of like when you think, back in time, back in the old days, when the farmer was getting up at the crack of dawn with the rooster, and they would work all day on their farm, and then they would come back to bed like at night, and they would wake up and do it all over again. A generator type would kind of be the perfect person to be the farmer. They have the energy to sustain that kind of work. There's a caveat though, right? There's a caveat. They have the energy to sustain that kind of work, to be, to be putting out, to be producing, to be creating, to be building. They have that energy to do that and to keep going. The thing is though, it really needs to be something that they're passionate about. So let's think about this, with kids. How can we apply that to kids? We think, well, kids, they're not like working yet. They're not, creating businesses and having jobs and needing to do all that yet. But how can we apply this to the kids and, talk about like building their interest, looking at their extracurricular activities. So, I have two generator sons. So my oldest generator, he's an 8th grader, and he recently has been playing football. So he's gotten back into football after the pandemic, and youth sports have been running again. And he is just like, he's obsessed, right? He's obsessed. So this is something that we're really trying to help him nurture, because as a generator, right, he's here to master. He's here to master the things that he loves. He's here to follow the things that light him up. And he's, just here to be and create and work in that energy. And so, we've been doing as much as we can, again, to nurture that, right? So he's, he's been to every single practice. We have practice 3 nights a week for 2 hours, and he's out there burning that generator motor because he loves it. On the flip side, if you have a generator who's not enjoying something, you may not see that output from them, right? So I have a manifesting generator. He's my youngest. And so again, generators are all about like mastery. So really helping them hone their skills, finding what they're good at, finding what they love, and just helping them work on those things. So again, with my son with football, we're going to be connected with, he also does kicking. So we're going to be connected with a kicking coach so he can work on his kicking skills, because his coaches have told us that if he works on those things and he's really serious about it, that he could potentially have a future, getting a scholarship or something with those things. So we're going to help nurture that mastery of our generator so he can work towards that thing that he loves. Okay, so that's how we're trying to help support him in that aspect of work. On the flip side, I have my little manifesting generator. He's my youngest, and I'm also a manifesting generator, so I really can relate to his energy. They need to have the freedom. They also are looking to follow the things that they love. They can create, they can work up a storm, like they can do some really cool things if they are lit up by what they're doing, right? So my man Gen son, this has been about a year ago now, he wanted to try out jujitsu, and he loved it for like the first 2 weeks, like high energy, like let's go, I want to get there, I love it, like can I get, he wanted to buy like the suit, can I buy another suit, can I go an extra day, like in it, right? In it, and I'm like, cool, we found something that he really loves. And then after that, it was like done, gone. All of a sudden, he did just a complete 180, and he's like, I don't love it anymore, I want to quit. And this was after 2 weeks, and I'm like, really? Had I not known about human design, I would have made him stick it out a lot longer, because that's just our tendency. Well, I paid for this, you made this commitment, you're going to stick it out longer. And so, we can look at it a lot of different ways, but I came at it from this human design standpoint, and I said, you know what, you're manifesting generator. You were really into this, you all of a sudden lost your passion for this, and you're ready to pivot and leave. And yeah, it hurts because we invested some money into it. But then I also had to reflect on my own experiences and how I operate, and how I can be really into something and loving it for weeks and invest all this, time and sometimes finances into, and then all of a sudden I'm just like, I lost my interest for it. And I used to find that really fleeky and unreliable and annoying, but now I just know that's how my energy works. And so now I've learned how to be aware of it, right? So that I can better work with my energy and not catch myself in those slumps of, or like, cool, I just, spent maybe all this money buying all this stuff for this thing that I'm not interested in anymore. So it's easier to be aware of those things now. But helping your child, be aware of those things, but also allowing them that space to pivot. If they're a manifesting generator, allowing them to follow those things that light them up, that they're maybe really passionate about, and you're like, oh my gosh, this kid is so obsessed with this thing, and then all of a sudden they're done with it and they're on to a new thing, and you're like, oh, what happened? It's the manifesting generator. That's just our energy. And so supporting and nurturing and understanding that as much as you can is one of the best ways that you can help support them, right? Just that understanding. So looking at it from like that working aspect, that's how you can help nurture them. They have a lot of energy. That sacral center holds a lot of energy, so you want to make sure that they're getting lots of physical activity. So running them outside, playing sports, all of that stuff is really great. Trampoline, swimming, those are all the things that I use to get my boys worn out. One thing that I have noticed, and you'll have to let me know in the comments if you have a generator, a manifesting generator child, or if you yourself are one or the other, is that us man-gens, we run out of our energy a little bit quicker. So I think it's because we're always we're moving so quickly and doing so much in such a small span of time. I think we burn through our energy quicker. So I've noticed my little one, he's always pretty much the first kid to sleep. And then me, myself, I'm always tired before my generator husband, who will sometimes like lay in bed for hours after me. He's just like, I'm just not tired. And I'm just like, I was done. So I do think that if you have a manifesting generator, that they tend to run out of their energy a little bit quicker. They have a lot of energy, right? They have a lot, but I feel like they run out of it quicker or sooner. The other thing that I wanted to mention on supporting generators and man-gens, actually coming back to talking about the Sacral Center and getting all the physical activity out. So if we're talking about sleep, I did a post on like projectors and the non-sacral beings and kind of trying to have them in their own aura, their own space when they sleep. You don't need to so much worry about that with a generator type, because the Sacral Center is defined. You don't have to necessarily worry about them picking up on I want to say like the emissions of the Sacral Center of somebody else. So like I'm a man gen, my husband's a generator, and we've been able to sleep together perfectly. I actually sleep better with him there. And so I think a lot of it is from my experience standpoint. So you'll have to let me know yours as well, because that's all it is. It's all our experiments and our experiences. But like with my son, my projector son, he sleeps much better when he's not sleeping with anybody else. But so the important thing for them for sleep is just getting that energy out. And especially if my oldest generator, he has all 4 of his motor centers defined. And so the motor centers are going to be the Sacral Center. They're going to be the Root Center. I'm going to make sure I'm going the right way. The Solar Plexus Center. So that should probably be opposite on your paper. So the Solar Plexus Center is a motor center, and then the Will Center or the Ego Center, depending on what you call it, Heart Center. And so my oldest generator, he has all 4 of those defined, and so he's just like, he's got the weirdest sleep schedule. Like he's just, yeah, he doesn't if he doesn't burn enough energy, like he sleeps terrible. So like football is great for him because he burns that energy and he crashes and he sleeps really, really good then, and he doesn't have like broken sleeping patterns, even though he's a generator. So I just like to include that side note. The more of the motor centers that are defined, the more you need to get that energy out of them physically. And I feel like there was one more thing that I was going to talk about. I know I've been talking for a little bit here. I can't tell how long. Okay. So the last thing that I want to talk about really in supporting them is kind of talking about that yes-no response that comes from the Sacral Center. Talking about the responding strategy, right? And then the sacral authority. So they may not have a sacral authority. The authority may be like my little man gen, he's an emotional authority, but these strategies can still work the same because the Sacral Center responds to preferences, basically, to options, to choices. So how this can work is let's talk about my generator son. He's such a classic generator. He's such a great one to use for an example. He is he's always making these grunting noises, and he's always just like or sighing. And I used to always be like, what's wrong? Why are you making those noises? And he's like, nothing's wrong, I'm just making noises. So I've since learned that it's like just his sacral speaking, and there's nothing wrong. He's just letting those sounds out. And so it's so interesting to see it from that perspective, when I'm like, I just leave him to his sighing and his grunting, and it eventually works itself out. But so talking about the yes-no response though, and engaging that. So thinking about dinner. So he complained to me a little while back that we always have the same things for dinner. And like, can we change it up a little bit? I'm like, yeah, but when I change it up, you guys don't eat anything. So I said, cool, well, tell me, what do you want me to make, right? And that was the worst question in the world for him, because that didn't give him his sacral an option of something to respond to, of like a yes or like a meh, no. It just left him with like this open-ended question where he's like, well, I don't know. And that's what he told me. He's like, I don't know. And he got really frustrated with me. And I'm like, well, give me an idea of what you want and I'll make you something different. And he was just getting really frustrated with me saying, I don't know. So I said, okay, fine. So I pulled up like Pinterest and I started going through some things. And I'm like, whatever it was, like a fried chicken, fettuccine, like Alfredo, lasagna. And so, we went through some things and he's like, no. And then I would come to one that he would like and he'd be like, maybe. And so I would take that as a yes because, his sacral no was just straight out like, no. And then when we would get to something that was like a maybe or a yes, it was like, oh, you could visibly see him interest peaked. You could visibly see the sacral, like, ooh, the sacral was interested. So that's one way that you can just help playing around with how you can support them. And then this works the same way for the mangen, because that sacral response too, you can use that with them as well. But I love my son and experimenting with him because he's just a very classic generator, and so he's really fun to watch. So I hope that kind of helps. I know I rambled a lot. I tend to ramble when I start talking human design. So let me know if you have any questions on at the end of this, after you've listened. Please let me know what some of your experiences are as a mangen, a gen with the Undefined, Defined Root Center. And I hope that you have a great day.